Good day, everyone, especially for our dear panelists. We are Group 7, and I am Delerio. Together with me is Samantha Nicole Doble, Ariella Mikaela Guinto, Juliana Mae Gameng, and Cindy Lagazon. And we're about to present our research titled Customers' Complaints and the Mental Health of Restaurant Personnel. For our objectives,
Objectives: to determine the mental health issues that restaurant personnel get towards the customer's complaints. To identify the relationships between the customer's complaints and the mental health of restaurant's personnel. Research problems. 1. What is the demographic profile of the students in terms of age, gender? 2. What are the usual complaints of customers in a restaurant? 3. What mental health issues do restaurant personnel get towards customer complaints? 4. Is there a significant relationship between customer complaints and restaurants personnel's mental health? Scope and the limitations. The focus of the study is about the usual complaints of the customers and how does it affect the mental health of the restaurant personnel. It shows that 50 to 150 restaurants personnel suffer in dealing with different complaints and how they handle it not only in one particular restaurants, but all over Metro Manila.
In conceptual framework, we have independent and dependent variable. The dependent variable is the customer's complaints, and the independent variable is the mental health status of personnel. So customers' complaints affects the mental health status of personnel. Research hypothesis. In HO or null hypothesis, there is no significant relationship between the customer's complaints and the mental health of the restaurant personnel. In HA or alternative hypothesis, there is a significant relationship between the customer's complaints and the mental health of the restaurant personnel.
Our research is quantitative in descriptive design and our sample randomly selected through purposive sampling.
The instrument that we have used is self-made survey, which is an online questionnaire that consists 3 parts. The part 1 is seeks to gather data regarding the demographic profile of the respondents, which includes their sex and age. The part 2 of the questionnaire is about customer complaints, and we use Likert scale to gather data from the respondents. The part 3 of the questionnaire was about the mental health issues, and we use Likert scale to gather data from the respondents.
Quantitative methods. 1. Percentage. Percentage use the present and analyze the data regarding the demographic profile of the respondent and the survey answer on the survey questionnaire. Number 2. Weighted mean. This is measure the frequency of the customer's complaints and the mental health of restaurant personnel. Number 3. Pearson correlational coefficient. The measurement of the strength of the relationship between two variables and their association with each other.
Demographic profile of the respondents. Figure 2. Distribution of respondents by age. 46% is 18 years old and below, which is the majority number of our respondents, while 6% is 25 to 30 years old, which is the least number of respondents. Figure 3. Distribution of respondents by sex. 60% are female and 40% are male. Customers' complaints. Figure 4. Distribution of respondents by frequency of complaints encountered. Based from the data provided in Figure 4, 36% of restaurant personnel were sometimes encountered customers' complaints from the restaurant they have worked at, while 4% of them usually encountered customers' complaints. Table 1. Sample weighted mean of the respondents' frequency statement regarding their encounter to customers' complaints. Based on the information, the highest mean was recorded as 2.72. When interpreted, this means that respondents sometimes received or encountered customers' complaints from poor service. In general, the respondents registered rarely toward 3 of the 5 statements. The mean for this statement was computed at 2.57, implied that the respondents rarely encountered customers' complaints. Mental health issues. Figure 5. Distribution of respondents by whether customers' complaints directly affect their well-being. 64% were agreed that the customers' complaints directly affected their well-being, while 36% disagreed. This implied that in the case of these respondents, most of the restaurant personnel are directly affected mentally with the customers' complaints. Table 2. Sample weighted mean of the respondents' frequency to statement regarding their mental health or well-being. Table 2 shown the data of the respondents' material health or well-being as they encountered customers' complaints. In conformity with the illustration, the highest mean was recorded at 3.34 for the 5th statement, When interpreted, this means that the respondents sometimes experience stress towards customers' complaints. Generally, the respondents registered sometimes toward 3 of the 5 statements. The mean for these statements is computed at 2.82, implied that the respondents' mental health was sometimes affected by the customers' complaints.
The relationship between customers' complaints and mental health of restaurant personnel. Okay. Table 3, correlation of the customers' complaints and the mental health of restaurant personnel. Table 3 shows the correlation of the variables data given in table 1 and 2. It shows that there was moderate negative correlation between customers' complaints and the mental health of restaurant personnel and was not statistically significant.
Conclusion. Based on the findings of the study, the following conclusion were drawn. 1. Majority of the restaurant personnel are female, with a range of 18 years old and below as the highest number of noise. Number 2. The restaurant personnel sometimes receive complaints from their customer and they agree. They having a poor service and the reason of it apparent. Number 3. Restaurant personnel admit that customer complaints directly affect their mental health or well-being as they agreed that they suffer stress from it. Number 4. There is no significant relationship between customers' complaints and the restaurant personnel in mental health.
Recommendation. Based on the conclusions, the following recommendations are proposed. 1. Customers must process give their statement that dissatisfaction is the right manner, since it affects the mental health of the personnel. They should also handle their emotion as they discuss their complaints with the constituent of the establishment. 2. Future personnel should be able to acquire social and emotional skills as they face and handle different situations and attitude of customers. Future researchers may consider doing a relational research on customers' complaints and mental health of restaurants personnel. Case study researchers that will help to identify the other cause of the grievance of the customers aside from the restaurant systems that are failed to notice and how these phenomena affect their environment, as well as the personnel and people they met. They should also consider doing a research on the skills and knowledge that personnel, especially restaurant personnel, should have to manage the situations aside establishments.